3 in total, the only 3 who were executed ever in Kilmainham jail. Women were a problem. They would be sentenced to death as normal. There was no problem with that at all. The courts were sentenced to death, but almost invariably that sentence was commuted to imprisonment of some sort. They were seen as the fairer, gentler sex. They were supposed to be protected. It was difficult for anyone to execute them. He executed 3. And it was only 2 executions. It was 1, Rose Kelly, and then 2, the 2 Bridgets, as a double execution. Well, the 2 Bridgets, basically, Bridget Butterley was working for a man called Pike, if I remember his name, Captain Pike, and she was a servant. The usual thing happened. He seduced her. She got pregnant. He fired her. She couldn't get a job in Ireland because he wouldn't give her a reference. So with her other friend, Bridget, also Bridget, they were going to England, but they needed money. They decided they'd rob his house. Waited till he was out and broke in. Met his wife. In defending themselves, the wife was struck with a poker and died. So here you had the 2 ultimates. You had a murder and you had stealing property. So they were sentenced to death for that and didn't get off. They were sent to Kilmainham jail, where they screamed the house down. They were so distraught. They were only young, very early 20s. And indeed the Sisters of Charity were brought in by George Dunn, who was the head jailer, the governor of the jail at the time, brought them in to try and calm them down. And that began the Sisters of Charity's mission to caring for prisoners. They were so successful with them that they calmed them down, and they went to the gallows peacefully at the end, remorseful but peaceful. Rose Kelly, I would say, was probably the only person hanged in Kilmainham jail who deserved to be hanged. 1802, she was walking around Dublin, met a little 5-year-old girl, and took her with her, bought her some sweets, etc., spent the day with her, and the next day up at Inchicore Bridge on the Grand Canal, the little girl was found face down in a pool of water, naked. Now, a lot of people think this was a sexual crime. It wasn't. It had nothing to do with that. She killed her to get her clothes. It was a common practice to steal good clothes from young kids and sell them. And that's all she did. The child was well dressed. So she stole her clothes and killed her for that. She was a horrid and an awful woman. She was 35 plus, foul-mouthed. She went to the gallows, not screaming but cursing everybody. In court, she cursed the judge and everybody else there, and it was just the way she was. I presume that she was probably a heavy drinker as well, but I don't know. That's a presumption. But she was a really horrendous woman, and I think we're better off without her.